Well, it's that time of year again, folks. It's springtime, or should I say, it's spinner time. That's right. Spring is the best time to throw those spinner baits. You get a partly cloudy day, a little bit of wind, a little ripple on the water, and then, ooh, baby, you got yourself a recipe for some spinnerbait actions. But we're not going to throw just any spinnerbait. No. That'd be too easy. We're going to throw some old school ones, like the SOB bug right here, the small Okie Bug. We're going to throw a bass killer by Mepps, and a sweetheart by the Heart Company. And on top of that, we're going to throw not only old, but old and unusual, like this Alon right here. Puts a twist on spinnerbaits. If you see right here, the twist on the blade. And this is one I guarantee you've never seen before, the Wrangler Schooler. It's got multiple blades on there. Crazy stuff. Hey, and if the action's working, we're also going to toss out some buzz baits like these old school 70s Lunker Lure buzz baits. Why not? So let's get this old school bass and brew barge on the water, and let's go try to find some bass. Stick around. All right, so here's the box we're working with today. Let's see here. Got a lot of buck hair, every color you can think of, buzz baits, all sorts of stuff in here. But this right here is pretty cool. This is called a Herb's Dilly, and some consider it to be the first ever buzz bait. So let's toss a few of these on. Let's see what we can get. All right, and here's what we're going to be starting with right here, and this is the small Okie Bug. Now they have traditional Okie Bugs, they have tiny Okie Bugs, but I like the small Okie Bug because it's a downsized 1/4 ounce. It really just works in any kind of application, you know, large lakes, you know, smaller lakes like this, farm ponds, you name it. It's just a fish catcher pretty much everywhere. So let's find a spot out of the wind and try to get some bass. All right, so we're middle of April right now, full moon last night. Should be pretty good conditions. Bluebird skies, but you know, we got a lot of ripple on the water, a little more windy than I thought it was going to be today. All right, so here we go. Let's get out there. Let's see, first cast. All right, so let me show you the action in the water. And so you can see just a nice, simple little flash, little shad, perfect for spawning season. And, well, now I'm getting drifted away here. Was not supposed to be this windy today. All right, this is gonna be fun. Perfect. Oh, it's a perfect cast. Come on, one's gotta be there. Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Nice. Oh, man. Okay, going for a little ride. Not a bad little bass. There we go. Small Okie Bug does it. All right, well, the wind's picking up way more than I thought it was going to be. It's supposed to be super calm this morning. You can tell by that flag over there, it is not super calm. And, I don't know, this might be pretty tough today, but you know, we've been out here 10 minutes, already caught one bass, and spinnerbaits and wind go hand in hand, so hopefully we'll catch some more. All right, I'm gonna tell you right now, making a video in the wind is not the easiest thing to do. I'm being pushed all over the place, but we're gonna forge on. Here's what we're gonna do next. The Mepps bass killer. I mean, this is fantastic. If you see right here, the blade's got kind of a little two-piece on here where you can kind of split it apart, change the action a little bit. But I need to get on the trolling motor before I run into a dock. So let's go ahead and get going on this. Oh, there we go. All right, so as you can see, here's the action in the water. So this is with the blade closed. Let me show you, if you wanted to open up the blade, let me do that real quick and I'll show you what it looks like. Not as good. So if you see here, You got the blade, it doesn't do anything at all when it's wide open. There's no action at all. So just make sure that blade is closed. And we see here, just closing it back up, you got that flash, it's got good spin. So if you do run across these and you want to fish them, just make sure you just don't open up those blades all the way, or make sure that they've got a tight connection. You just don't want those to loosen up, and once these aren't connected, it's going to be a lot of whack. You're not going to get any good action on that. All right, this looks a lot more promising over here. Let's go. Get it. There we go. There's someone right there. There he is. All right. Killer bass does it. Not exactly the biggest fish we were looking for, but hey, it did what we wanted it to do. Caught a bass, so that's good to go. It's whoa, I think this guy's been hooked before. Okay, there it is. All right, so here's an unusual one that you may not have seen before, and what this is a Heddon twin spin. It's got 2 blades on here, really cool little lure, buck hair. Found this in a tackle box from an estate sale. Pretty neat little lure. It was really oxidized, so I just put a little Sharpie on there to a little better look. So let's toss it in and let's see if we can't find some. The water is pretty stained, so I think that this might be a good one. I don't know. We're gonna try it though. Oh wow. Right away. Whoa. Really? This wind is ridiculous today. So today was supposed to be one of those 10 out of 10 perfect weather days. Light breeze. You know, I'm gonna say they probably didn't ask a guy who's running a trolling motor if it was a 10 out of 10, because I wouldn't say that's the case. But hey, you know what? That's what it's all about. We're out here, we're having fun, catching bass on old school spinnerbaits. That's what it's all about. Nice. Graceful. All right, so let's show you the action of the twin spin in the water. You can see tons and tons of flash there. Really cool lure, pretty heavy, but great for getting it down deep if you need to do that. I like this lure, I think it's pretty cool. So hopefully we can find something on it. They're being a little picky today, but that's all right. They usually are. Oh, come on. All right, so here's one I guarantee you guys have not seen before. This one's called the Schooler by Wrangler Lures out of Wichita, Kansas. Funky little lure of the 70s. It's got 3 blades. Pretty neat. Let's go ahead and tie it on. Let's give it a whirl. So I was actually wrong. This actually has 4 blades. Whoa. This thing's way more crazy than I thought. You got 2 on the side. You got the traditional one, then the one in the middle that spins around. This thing is crazy. All right, let's get it out there. All right, now first things first, we gotta see the action on this thing. This is just all sorts of flash going on. That's horrible camera work. Let's try that again. Very cool. All right, let's see if we can wrangle up some bass. There it is. Oh, I just saw something hit it. Right in the shadow where I thought it would be. Underneath these trees, there's gonna be something. Just has to be. Yep, that's what I thought. There we go. There we go, the Wrangler, baby. Nice. There we go. Wrangling up some bass. Boom. Check that out. Oh, yes. Fighting this wind, feels good to catch something on this. You know what? Honestly, this might be my new favorite spinner. I love it. Just so much going on. It's crazy. I've never seen anything like it. But thanks for playing, buddy. Put it back in the water and we're good to go. Let's keep on forging ahead and get a new one on. All right, this wind's really picking up, and we're gonna let Mother Nature just kind of keep us here parked at the dock. But here's another one that I've never seen before. I don't know if you guys have seen it or not. It's called an Alon Spinulator. Look at that. That is just really cool. The skirt is absolutely destroyed, so I'm gonna put a new skirt on it, but we're gonna try this. So what we're gonna do is motor up there and then just kind of let nature take its course down this side of the bank and try to catch some more fish. All right, so I'm gonna be honest, it actually looked worse in the package. The skirt's still in pretty good shape, so I'm just gonna leave it on, just because it's easier that way. But you can see, what a weird blade. Let's see if that gets anything. And this was out of Clinton, Missouri, down by Lake of the Ozarks, or Truman Lake. So, there you go. All right, so I'm gonna keep the Heddon tied on. I think we can get something off the twin spin. I don't even know where that is. Somewhere, here it is, right there. We obviously got that Spinulator, and then we have a decision to make here. I'm gonna fish them all, but what do we do next? Do we do the Bomber Bushwhacker, or do we do this is either an old school Vibrant King or Vibrant Queen. The original Vibrant King was just their spinnerbait, and then later on down the line they became larger, and then the Vibrant Queen came in and became a smaller downsized one. This one has a different skirt on it, but I think we're gonna go Bomber. I think we're gonna start with the Bomber. All right, here's what we're gonna do. Get up here a little bit, let nature troll us back. I think we have to start with the Spinulator. You gotta be crazy not to kick off with that one. So I guess what I just noticed about this as well too, you got half that's more of a silver metal, and the other half is more of a copper. All right, we're at the point here. Let's just go ahead and let's see what happens. While we're heading over to the point here, let's see the action on this. Oh yeah, that's kind of cool action. So you can see just the end of it really spins. All right. Oh man, false cast tight. No, don't lose the Spinulator. Whew. Almost lost the Spinulator there. Oh yeah, right in the shadow. Come on now. Come on, something's hiding over there. Really? Come on. Come on. Oh, there we go. Come on, Spinulator. Oh yeah, Spinulator had something on there. There's one thing I know about this lake. They love dark shadows and anything under a cedar tree. Oh, there's one chasing right now. One's chasing right now. Oh, come on. That was money. All right, see underneath this little tree right here? I don't want to get a loss, so I'm a little nervous about tossing it over there, but like these trees right here, perfect. That's the money zone. All right, we're gonna make another pass with the Spinulator. I think this thing can catch some fish. Plus you can cast it a mile. Cover a lot of water with this thing. Let's give it one more go around. If we get nothing on this, worst case scenario, move over to the Bushwhacker or the Vibrant Queen. And I don't know, maybe try to throw out that Heddon twin spin again. You know, who knows? Guess we're just gonna see where the spinner lures take us today. Good news is we've already caught a couple fish, so that's, you know, we're not skunked, which is great. That Schooler might be my new favorite spinnerbait of all time. I love that thing, that old school Wrangler. Just so goofy and weird. Oh. Is that? Oh, no. Oh, that was a tree bass. Caught a few of those today. Been pretty good. Oh, there's another one right there. Nice. Got off, darn. Okay. This kind of spot right here, I have a little overhang. That was a terrible cast again. All right, so this is kind of the money zone right here. We got these types of trees with the overhang, the shadow. They just love to hang out there. It's a little harder to skip this thing, but if we can do that, like if we can get right underneath that tree, guarantee there's one just hanging out. So just kind of like right around there. No? Okay, well, maybe another tree. Maybe it's under this tree. All right, so this wind's picking up, so to maximize time, we're gonna just keep on going back and forth on this until we start trolling so fast that it makes it too difficult. So the Spinulator didn't do what I wanted it to do. We're gonna throw the Vibra. I think I have the Vibra tied up, right? Is that it? No, I did the Bushwhacker. So we're gonna do the Bushwhacker next. I think that should totally catch bass. If it doesn't, we'll try another spot. And then, I don't know, maybe we call it, but let's, you know, we gotta give it the old college try, right? So, keep after it. If I wanted to, I could probably pull out some of these buck hair ones, and it would make it a lot simpler to catch with these. These are super easy, simple little one blade spinner baits, and they always catch fish. But, you know, I don't like to make things easy on myself, so I think the best thing to do is to throw larger, more difficult lures and some funky ones, you know? Like, that's what makes them fun. So, let's keep going. I want to catch one at least on the Spinulator and or the Heddon, and I think if we can catch on one of those two that have been most difficult today, I think that's a win. That's a win-win. Just want to show you the action in the water here while we're letting the boat drift. Just, I mean, really, really nice. Good action there. So, anyways, did you get the gist? Oh. Finally, Bushwhacker does it. I don't know if you saw that little dancing show that he put on for us. God, this is a tiny bass. I didn't even know I hooked him. He was so small. All right, last go around here. We got the twin spin. Let's get it. Maybe this darker color will be the ticket. I don't know. We'll see. What's cool about this, it's a little heavier, so you can kind of flip it like a jig. It gets down deep quickly, which is nice. Okay, trying to steer this puppy. Oh, there it is. There it is. Yes. Yes, victory on a twin spin. A little nicer bass too. Whoa, yeah, baby. Oh. Oh, he's a good looking bass. Woo! Oh, there it is. The twin spin strikes. Fantastic. Well, with all the wind, I think this is a perfect way to end the day. Way to go. Thanks for playing. He already had a little bit of something on his lip right there. He's probably been caught before, but that's fantastic. There we go. Guess we'll just coast her back home now. Well, got the old bass and barge put away, and I got to tell you, what a great day. Any day that you can catch bass on Vintage Spinnerbaits is fantastic. Now, I thought the weather was going to cooperate a little bit more. It didn't. They said it was supposed to be light winds in the morning and gustier in the afternoon. I think they were a little off on that one. But either way, we caught some fish on vintage stuff, which is fantastic. So as a thank you for watching and subscribing, gotta be a subscriber, type a little comment down below. Let me know your favorite vintage spinnerbait. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna send you a couple decals and a new old stock spinnerbait. I haven't decided which one I'm gonna throw in there yet. I don't know, but I'm gonna send one your way. So I'll just pick the winner at random, and let's say I'll pick that May 1st. So watch, like, subscribe, if you're a subscriber and you comment your favorite spinnerbait, I'll throw in some free stuff for you. You know what? Let's just head back to the studio as a little bonus content. I'm going to show you what some of these lures look like brand new in package. I showed you a few that were on the water, but I got a few more that I think you guys might want to see. So let's go take a look at that, and we'll figure out which one I'm going to give away. So you might be thinking to yourself, spinnerbaits are all the same, right? Wrong. You see, throughout the years, spinnerbaits have had a lot of innovations, improvements, gimmicks, blade design, sizes, skirt color, skirt material, blade metal, blade finish, blade color, double blade, single blade, willow leaf, Indiana, Colorado, hammered blade. Anyways, you get the gist. There's been a lot of different variations of spinnerbaits, and so what we're going to do now is look through 50 years of spinnerbait innovation, changes, and we're going to do that by looking through some of these old catalogs and checking out some new old stock spinnerbaits still in package. All right, we're going to kick things off and go back 50 years to 1975, and we're going to start with none other than Virgil Ward's company, Bassbuster Lures. So we've got a couple spinners right here. Now here's the deal. I was a little reluctant about featuring the Beetle spin only because I feel like that's more of a downsized micro spin, and then where does it stop? Do we do inline spinners? Do we do MEPS? Do we do rooster tails? Do we do crappie type lures? No, we're talking more about the scorpion and the tarantula for this video. But this does catch bass. This catches literally everything. You can see an example of what this would look like new in package. This is not from 1975. This is from later on in the 80s, but just so you can see what that looked like. It had to be mentioned, but we're just going to breeze through it over to the scorpion and the tarantula. Now, essentially the exact same thing, except for one big noticeable difference. What do we see that? Well, it's the skirt. This is more of a traditional skirt right here. This one has a lot less going on. Now, what we can see, it almost has kind of like, we'll call it tentacles for lack of a better word, but there's less going on here and a lot more going on here. But essentially, the same weight, the same blade, the same lure, just a little different skirt. So the scorpion and the tarantula by Bassbuster. Now we're gonna move over a couple pages here, and we've got a few from Burke, we've got some Bass Pro, and we're gonna take a look, and I just want you to just take a look at this one real quick. Just remember that, twin spins. I'm gonna show you another one here in just a minute that's very similar to this, and it's probably my favorite spinner. I don't know, I got a lot of favorites, you know? Maybe it's my second favorite. But for the sake of time, let's get over to this page right here. And this one's Bass Pro's favorite spinners for 75. And we got none other than the Mann's Woolly Bully! Woolly Bully! All right, so it looks like Hattie told Maddie about this lure right here. And this is the Woolly Bully. Let's take a little closer look. So we see right here, this is the one with the grub on the end, okay? And then we're gonna go back even a few more years to 1972, where we've got a Mann's Bait How to Fish catalog right here. And we've got the Woolly Bully Pro model. Folks, this is not amateur hour, this is the Pro model, okay? So you've got the Pro model here, that's a single blade with a grub, so basically has a stingray grub at the end. You got the double blade option right here with the skirt, and a single blade with the skirt. Same thing over here, the tandems. But they came in a few different sizes. You got 1/4, 3/8, 5/8, and 1 ounce options right there. And then also they came in green, purple, yellow, fire red, white, and black. But that was the Woolly Bully by Mann's Lures. And let's go ahead and take a little deeper dive into what the packaging would have looked like back in the day. So it would have came in something kind of like this right here. Try to delete that glare if we can. And so we see right here, there's a few different options of how they have this rigged up. You got one with the grub on the end, you have the grub with the skirt, and then what's hidden behind the blade right here is just the skirt. But a really nice spinnerbait by Mann. So what it came in a packaging just like this. Very cool. Moving on, we've got the Bushwhacker. And if you remember a few minutes back from the video, I actually caught a bass on that. However, the video froze and you didn't get to see any of it, but you did hear the audio. Probably the smallest bass of the day, but I gotta tell you, great lure, works fantastic. And then you got the Spin Dance. And why is it Spin Dance? Bill Dance. So we'll get into some of those a little bit later on down the line with Strike King and Bill Dance, and I'll kind of show you some examples of what those would look like new in package. That's for 1975. All right, moving into 1976, we've got a catalog here that you may not have seen before. And what this is called the Outhouse, and it's by BASS. And what I like about it, it's got some stuff in here that you may not see every day, especially in the Bass Pro catalogs. And so let's go ahead and start with this side over here. And what we've got is the small Okie Bug and the standard Okie Bug. I think we've all heard of these. If we've fished spinnerbaits from back in the day, we know what this stuff is. But I'm going to need a little bit of detective work from you all. Maybe you can help me out with this. So this is kind of what we have grown to know and love in regards to the small Okie Bug. So this is Don Butler's world famous small Okie Bug, helped win the 1972 Bassmaster Classic. And you can see it got the Okie Bug prominently displayed right there on the blade itself. Now here's something that's interesting. I've noticed we got two different packages, but this is what I think of when I think of the head on the Okie Bug. It's got more of kind of cone shape with eyes. However, I noticed that some of them have this more rounded, almost like an H&H style. I'm wondering if someone restapled this and I got duped, or if in fact maybe he worked with another company to make different heads at some point, but I don't know. You guys, boop, 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 down below. Now, I did mention this in the video as well, too. I believe I said it was it's a baby Okie Bug. So we've got a smaller downsized version of the Okie Bug right here. And then here's the one that actually fished while I was on the water. Here is the traditional Okie Bug right here. And this is what that would have looked like new on card. I got to tell you, probably one of my favorite cards. I love this cartoon mosquito with the bass. I mean, this thing is awesome. Just so cool. Fantastic. Gotta love that. Now, since we're talking spinnerbaits, we might as well go ahead and talk buzz baits. So we got the Buzz and Bug right here, and boom, you can see Buzz and Bug right there. Very nice, like that card. Very cool, old school buzz bait. And we can see it kind of evolve as well. We've got this one from later in the 90s, the Buzz and Bug. And we also have a card of a newer style Okie Bug from the 90s as well right here. And we'd be remiss if we didn't mention one of these as well too. This is the Gator Bug. And it's 24 karat gold jewelry finish. Yeah, there you go. There you go, the Gator Bug. All right, real quick, here's two more examples too. Here's another small Okie Bug with the traditional head, and then here's one with the rounded off. It's a mystery, folks. Maybe he did. I'm guessing that maybe for a year or two, he had someone else. And look, this one has a different hook. This one has a double hook. Wow. Well, who knows? You type in down below if you think you know the answer to that. So as we move on in 1976, this one, okay, now I'm telling you, I think the Wrangler Schooler is my new favorite, but this one right here, before the Schooler was mine, and it's the Mr. Twister Twin-sation. A new Twin-sation. So what we got right here, and I've got quite a few of these actually. I found in a estate sale. I've been way too scared to open and fish them because I've never seen them again. And quite frankly, I haven't even looked for them again, but these are awesome. And it's just throwing everything at it. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at what these would have looked like. We can see right here, it's basically just a spinnerbait with two blades on it, and then you have two replacement blades that come with it. And you can do it with the skirt, or you can do it with the skirt and grub mix, whatever you want to do. It's just, we're going to throw the kitchen sink on this thing, and we're going to see if it catches bass. So here's an example. This one, the plastic cracked, you can kind of see the two blades right there, but then you have also a willow leaf option, and then you have another blade that's kind of got more of a, let's do that dark brown sparkle on it. Very, very cool. But this is the Mr. Twister Twin-sation. They had a few different varieties. I've got some other ones too that have chartreuse blades and orange blades. Love this though. So this is from 1976. Yeah, I don't know that I'll be able to open that and fish it. Maybe this one, I don't know. You type it down below. If you guys are like, that thing is amazing, we need to see it on the water, well then, you know what? I gotta do it for you folks, right? So why not? Maybe we'll throw one out there. the verdict is still out. Up next, okay, so we just saw the and so now we're gonna look at the Mann's Tomcat, okay? And so here's an example of what the Tomcat would have looked like. And here's something that's a little bit more of a noticeable difference. So, you know, kind of the downsized spinner is a little bit of the rage right now. So this is his downsized spinner. And what's unique about this is he got this hole right here in the middle of the blade. And what he's saying is that's good for is it allows air to get trapped and causes an unbelievable vibration. Now, I don't know, is that gimmick? Maybe, I don't know. But who cares? It's cool. I like it. I think it's a pretty neat design here. And what's not to love about this Tomcat design? Very, very cool. So here's all the different variations we have right here. But you can see we've got sizes from 1/8 to 1/2 ounce. And I mean, the fire red color is incredible. I mean, all these just, you know, white with purple. Man, just a cool lure from Mann's. Now, if you remember at the very beginning of the video, I mentioned this is all about old and unusual spinnerbaits, and this next one certainly fits the bill for both. And if you know anything about Doug Parker's Rabble Rouser Lure Company, you know right away from its bug-eyed appearance, what's not to love about this lure right here. It looks cartoonish. It catches bass. It's fun to collect. This thing has it all. I love these lures. They're a ton of fun. And this one's probably one you've never seen before. This one's called the Rabbler. So this is the Rabbler, and this is their all-purpose lure, if you will. And so not only is it a spinnerbait, but on top of that, you could take the wire off of this, and you could use this to either jig or use as a swim bait, crankbait, or take the skirt off and put a worm at the end, like this. Now, this actually came from Doug Parker's estate sale. And what's unique about some of these, you can see they're kind of painted. I think he was actually tweaking the design on some of these. So this came from his personal collection, which is pretty cool that the guy who made these lures probably had his hands on these. So very, very cool. Fun one to collect. I probably will not fish these, sadly. I just don't know where I could find another one. And the fact that these are in his personal collection, you know, kind of want to hold on to them. But I thought this one's certainly old, unusual, and you guys would like to see it. All right, to end this catalog, what was the biggest event in 1976? Go ahead and cue up that Jeopardy music. Do-do-do-do. Time's up. Well, you know what it was? Obviously, it was the bicentennial, folks. And so you have to mention this right here, the Uncle Sam Spinnerbait, all new, exclusive, limited edition. And that's this right here. The Uncle Sam, you got to mention that. Just a really cool piece of Americana right here. This is the Uncle Sam by BASS. Just a really fun throwback lure from 1976. I love this lure. Just a lot of fun. Ton of fun to collect this. Have this on the wall, probably displayed. So there you go. That's that for 1976. Let's move over to 1977. So kicking off 1977, probably one of the most iconic spinnerbait companies ever, Strike King right here. And we see Bill Dance and Charles Spence. And these are the lures for 77. You can see all the spinners right there. Here's an example of what the old Spin Dance would have looked like, new and packaged from back in the day. This one might be a little slightly newer than 77, but it could be. It could be. I mean, we've got the same logo on there, and so I'm guessing it's certainly from that time period. We'll try to get that glare off of it, but it would have looked something kind of like this. But there you have it. So that's how we're kicking off the 77 year. Now, we mentioned these before, but I think we need to see them just one more time. I think in a little larger light here, you can really see in this spread from Bass Buster the difference between the Scorpion and the Tarantula. And you can see just kind of clear as day, really, the difference is the skirt. And you can see the options they have right here for the Scorpion and the Tarantula right there. But that's the main difference. You know, I've never fished a Tarantula. I think it'd be kind of fun. Actually, that'd be a great video. Head to head, Scorpion Tarantula. Who's going to win it all? I don't know. We'll see. Up next, we've got one that I actually have for sale on the Angling Archaeology eBay page. And if you've not been on that yet, here is the little logo and everything right there. I'll put the link down below so you can know where to find this. Essentially what this is the Blakemore Twister. Now, Blakemore was big in the spinners back in the day. And what's cool about this is kind of a skirted spoon, as you can see right here. with a buzzbait blade right there. So you've got these all right here. It's called the Twister. But you can find this new old stock on Angling Archaeology eBay. Now let's move on to some other ones. So we've got the Mr. Twister Lunker Buzz. And so it would have looked something like this. This packaging is a little bit newer, but you get the gist. Here it is. This is a Mr. Twister Lunker Buzz, and they had a lot of awesome variations of, you have a double bladed one right here with a bucktail, which is pretty awesome, a single blade, and then you also had a smaller downsized version of that as well too. But that is the Lunker Buzz from Mr. Twister. Buzzbaits were all the thing back in the day. Here's another tomcat right there. Oh, there's a surface buzzer. Look at that, look at that tomcat. That's a little something different. And then this one right here. Now, I want to showcase this right here. This is the Lunker Lure, much like the Lunker Buzz. And let's show you a couple different examples of those right here. So we have the new Jumpin' Jack one. And so this is basically a buzz bait, and it's even got a trailer willow blade. Look at that, huh? Dang, that's pretty awesome. Love that. We've got this new 1/8 ounce Lunker Lure, and you can see it says LL on there. Love how they put that on the blade so you know what's what when you're fishing it. But very nice little buzz bait right there. And then you got this one right here, and this is just your traditional Lunker Lure. It's a double bladed version of this. And what I want to tell you folks is we're going to have a ton of these on Angling Archaeology eBay coming soon. Be on the lookout for that. If you like this, I got a lot of them headed your way. So you'll have the opportunity to fish this. And stick around towards the end. There may or may not be a giveaway. I'm not going to give it all away, but I am going to give one away. Now, moving into 1979, this is really the heyday for Bass Pro catalogs. I mean, look how thick this thing is. It's huge, man. Here's some example of the Bass Pro perfect spinners, if you will. Now, Bass Pro's been making spinnerbaits since they've had catalogs. They've always had their private label brand, but what's cool about this, they really start getting into promoting it more and more as we get into the late 70s and early 80s. Now, these are probably a little bit later on. I'll show you. I think this is probably 1982 for this packaging, but for the sake of whatever, we'll show you the next few pages of what I'm talking about here. So we can see you've got the color chart, the size chart, you know, the tandems. We have the different blade options, you know, the twin spin, the magnum copper, squirrel tail, willow. Then you have different skirts that you can go buy, different blades. Wouldn't it be great to just be able to go to Bass Pro again and buy that blue or buy that red or something like that? Maybe you can still buy the red, I don't know. But that blue is a pretty cool color, just pretty neat. Then you get into the buzzbaits or whatever else too. But I mean, there's multiple pages of just Bass Pro itself. And I thought that was pretty cool. So you may be asking yourself, is this guy gonna go through every single Bass Pro catalog for 50 years? Well, the answer is obviously yes. No, I'm kidding. We're just going to look through a couple throughout the 80s and then maybe one from the 90s. And then look at some other ones that didn't quite make the catalog. But folks, I don't have every single spinner that's ever been made. I'm just going to kind of show you the highlights and what I have in my collection. But I wanted to show you this too. So we were just looking at these spinner baits, and this is why I think it's from 1982. As you can see, that looks oddly familiar right there. You got the 82 catalog right there, and then you got the spinner bait with the exact same photo and the guy holding the bass right there. So that's why I'm thinking that these are probably early 80s. So if you run across those in a estate sale, garage sale, you kind of get a little timeline of when those were possibly made. So let's go on to 1987, fast forwarding a few years, and we're going to look again at Strike King, okay? And what we have here, we have a new single spin willow spin for 1987. I wanted to show you what that would look like new in package, and we have one right here, and this is the Strike King, just a massive beast of a willow blade right there. But very cool lure, new for 1987. And let's see, do we have another one on here? No, we've got the Uncle Buck's buzzer. They've been showcasing this for a number of years. Here we go. Here's one right here that we fished on the water. This one's slightly different than the one that I fished. This is a tandem bass killer, and this one is the one that I have right here. And this is just your standard single blade bass killer, okay? And you can see right here, and I showed you on the water as well too, that you can widen and narrow the blade on these. Very, very cool. Adjustable blade. So there you have it. I love this thing, and I've only got a few more. Weirdly enough, I found this on Facebook Marketplace, and someone just said they're selling them as hooks. I got a dealer's box for $3. I was like, yeah, I'll buy your hooks. Thanks. So, heck of a deal. Guys, look for those deals. Look on Facebook. Look at estate sales, garage sales. Those type of things are out there. So, anyways, moving on. 1988 was a pretty special year for spinnerbaits, specifically for Bass Pro Shop spinnerbaits. And one in particular that got so much praise and so much hype and very, very iconic. It's even hidden in the catalog cover right here. And if you can see that right there, that is none other than the Tornado. And the Tornado is really 3 lures in one. It's a buzzbait, spinnerbait, crankbait. And in fact, it was so crazy that they even made a VHS video about it. So you could buy this video, shows you how to fish it. Just a really cool, iconic lure. I don't know why they got rid of it. I wish they would bring this back. This is a super cool lure. If you try to look on eBay, they're astronomically high. I would love to make a video about this, but I don't, want to spend an arm and a leg to get one. But I do have one right here that is new in package. I'll never take this out, but absolutely love it. And I think this is probably one of my favorite cards because you got the Tornado just ripping through the lake right here. And on the back here, it shows you how to of the Tornado. And it even says right there, 3 baits in one, buzzbait, spinnerbait, crankbait, all right there. So that was for 1988. And just a really fun, cool, quirky, maybe slightly gimmicky lure. But this would be an awesome one if they ever brought back. That would be a lot of fun. Now we're moving on. In 1988, oh, hey, shocker, here we go. We're back over to Strike King again. I'm only showing you that because during this year, we've got the addition of these willow blades, and they're a diamond leaf spinnerbait. And I wanted to show you what that would look like right here. So this is an example of a diamond leaf blade right there. So, is it going to give you a little extra flash? Probably just a good way to sell more spinnerbaits, but still, pretty cool lure. So that's what that would have looked like for 1988. All right, and as we get to the end of our catalog tour right here in 1995, oh, hey, is that record broke? Yeah, we're back over here at Strike King again. But they just had so many different innovations throughout the years, it's hard not to show them. When you think Strike King, the number one lure that probably comes to mind is the spinnerbait. And so what we have here for 1995 is the Mirage. And the Mirage is basically a skirt that varies colors depending on water conditions. So here's an example of what the new Pro Model Mirage skirt would look like. New in box right here. So you can see that. There you have it. You got Mark Davis on the cover there. So there's that for 1995. We also see that the Diamond series has kind of expanded a little bit here. And I have to show you this. And one of my favorite things about this right here is, as seen on TNN's Cable TV Bill Dance Outdoors, TNN. Remember TNN? Oh my gosh. Love it. The old Walmart tag and everything. I mean, this is just America in the 90s right here. What is not to love about that? Fantastic. So there's that right there. And then here's one we haven't talked about yet, and I thought it's just at least worth noticing. I think it got a little bit of credit in the 90s. I think that these lures won a few tournaments, and that's the Heart Lure Company out of Oklahoma. And right here we have the Sweetheart, and it says that it was originated by Bojo, and it's got a little legend of Bojo back here, talking about a lure designer, and he's the one that kind of designed this. What's cool about these as well, too, is it actually came with a trailer hook. So that's awesome. And I think a little ahead of its time. I think trailer hooks kind of caught on a little later on, but very cool, very cool. So that's the Sweetheart. And they all kind of have like a little bit of a theme off the Heart name. So this one is the quad beater. And is it overkill? Yeah. Yep. There is a lot going on here, but I've fished these before. I've caught bass on this. And I think this is just a fun, goofy quirky little lure. But really, when I was saying about old and unusual, this hits the mark for unusual for sure. And the thing is, yeah, it was a little gimmicky probably to sell lures, but it actually works. So this is a neat one from the Heart Company. You're probably thinking to yourself now, wait a minute, hold on, you missed a few. You showed a lot of Strike King. You showed Mann's Lure Company. You showed Okie Bug. You showed Bass Busters. Where's the Cordell? Where's the Bagley? Where's the Rebel? But don't worry, I got you covered. We're gonna kick it off right here with this Rebel Destroyer Witch 3. Now look at this thing. Not only is this just an absolute monster of a spinnerbait, just huge. It's like the size of my palm of my hand. 3-blade, just a big mammoth jammet. But here, let me show you what I think is most cool about this. So you guys may not know who this is. This is Rebel's pack rat right here. His name is Packy the Pack Rat. And what he is he's promoting the Unlitter America campaign. Came out in 1963. Can't say for certain exactly what year this particular packaging is. Could be late 60s, early 70s, sometime around there. Maybe it's earlier, I don't know. But anyways, here's some pictures of them right there. But I just thought this was really cool. I'm a sucker for marketing and old school promotions like this. And just to see the old Packy on there, I thought that was pretty neat. So obviously old school, it's got a lot of charm to it. And an unusual lure too. The Witch 3, certainly a really fun one to collect. Now moving over to Cordell, and if anything else, I just absolutely love the packaging. So we have to take a look at these real quick, and this is the Vibrant Queen. Now, I mentioned earlier in the video when I was out there fishing, I had either a Vibrant King or a Vibrant Queen in the boat, and I believe it was probably this one right here. It was this Vibrant Queen. I could just tell kind of by the head of this, or actually you can probably see a little better on this one, had a little sparkle on there. And so I believe Cordell initially had the King, and the King was kind of the universal spinnerbait, had a few sizes, I believe. I'll have to go back and take a look at that. And then later on down the line, the Vibrant Queen, you can see these are all 3/8 ounce. And then the Vibrant King became the 1 ounce, the larger one. So if you're an expert on Cordell spinner gear, or you have a catalog from back in the day, because I don't have a catalog to back that up, I believe that's how that progression went. I believe that the King was the original spinnerbait, and then the Queen came along, became kind of the downsized 3/8, if you want to call it that. It's not even that downsized. And then the King was the 1 ounce. But what I love most is this packaging from Cordell, this old school. You can tell it's kind of got like waves in it to kind of give it a indication that it's water, but I mean, it looks a little psychedelic. I mean, I love just the font on there too with the fish. I mean, just a lot of fun to look at. Those are really cool. And then you get into, you know, the later 70s, early 80s, and you got this kind of font right there. Cordell knew what they were doing when it came to marketing. But hey, let's just say, you know, you can't find those or whatever else. These are a dime a dozen all over eBay. If you want to get your hands on them, I mean, they're only maybe a few bucks. But just their traditional old school spinner right here. Just a really simple design. No thrills, nothing too crazy about these. I don't think there's even anything on the back of these. But hey, this is the option from Cordell. Vibrant King, Vibrant Queen. They probably had some other ones as well too. But just wanted to make sure that Cordell got some credit in the vid. All right, we're getting to the home stretch here. We got a few more to look at, and then we're going to talk about that giveaway. So first and foremost, we got one here. This is this Spinnerbug by Bagley. Now, sadly for me, the plastic is broke, so it's not really new in package anymore. I mean, it's never been used, but good for the video so we can see a closer look. This is a really, really nice spinner right here, if you can find any of these. And what I like about this, look at the head on this. You got the eyes that bulge out. The paint job is phenomenal on these. Nice blades, just a really, really nice job. Bagley always does a nice job. All their lures, their paint jobs, just the attention to detail that they put into their stuff is really, it's next level. Now let's go to a few mom and pops real quick, just so you can kind of see some other options that were out there, or maybe some more inexpensive options. Maybe this one's not so much a mom and pop. I think Finney was a bigger brand back in the 70s and 80s, and this one's out of Galveston, Texas. But a really cheap and inexpensive. If you want to get into vintage fishing spinners for next to nothing, Finney is your brand. You can find these all over for not a lot of money. Really cool on card. So there's that one right there. I mean, we're talking like a couple bucks. Then the Extractor is another one. Jensen Fishing Tackle out of Austin, Texas. You can get nice little buck hair ones right there. I know they'll even ship to you as well if you just want to give them a call. I'm sure they have boxes and boxes of these. So there's a nice little bucktail option right there. All right, the next one we have here, this one's called the Weed Eater. Now we've seen designs pretty similar to this, but what I really like about this one right here, look at the sticker on that. It says T, G, and Y. Man, what a throwback on that. Really, really cool. I just like the packaging on this. I thought it was a fun one right there. And this one's kind of a little bit more local for me, history, if you will. And this one, if you see the little design right here, look at this. It says Moss Boss, and Moss Boss was actually a skirted spoon. And so this little dude on there is a skirted spoon, but they also made the Stud Bug, which is this huge, I mean, look, just to give you a reference, that is a massive blade, but really nice, well done spinner. I mean, really, really cool. Out of Sykeston, Missouri right there. And then finally, we've already looked at this quite a few times, but I just have to look at it again because it's just so dang cool. And that is the Schooler by Wrangler Lures. I'm going to tell you right now, I think this might be it. This might be my new favorite spinner. It's just, it's funky, it's fun, and it's local. You know, hitting all the marks. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Angling Archaeology, where we unearth the good old days. I want to thank you all for watching, liking, subscribing. And if you haven't done so already, please do like and subscribe. It really does help me out quite a bit. And as a bonus, first off, for making it this far in the video, so for the 4 or 5 people that are still awake, that's right, we've got a giveaway. And the only rules are, you gotta be a subscriber and comment down below, what's your favorite spinnerbait? It could be anything, something you fished with growing up, something you fished with years ago. Heck, it could be something new, I don't care. And what's the winner gonna get? Well, this right here. A Lunker Lure buzzbait. And you're thinking, whoa, 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 whoa. This was a spinnerbait video. I know, but the buzzbait's kind of the cousin of the spinner. So I was like, all right, we can throw that in. But not just that. This is, by the way, this is new old stock 70s stuff, folks. This is the good stuff. Probably my new favorite spinner now, the Schooler. I'm gonna throw this in as well too. I'll put it inside the original packaging. Look at the craziness on this. 4-blade spinnerbait from the 70s. Very rare. You're not going to see another one of these. And best part is you saw me catch a bass on it, so you know it works. This is the real deal right here. So I'm going to throw this in, and on top of all that, maybe most exciting, is some decals. We'll throw in some Angling Archaeology decals. You got the logo right here, and you got the font. So this and all this can be yours if you type down below. So that's gonna do it for this episode, folks. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, we'll see you on the water. Thanks for watching Angling Archaeology, where we unearth the good old days. Don't forget to like and subscribe.